again. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another video. If this is your first time, I'm so happy that you made it here. If this is not your first time, thank you so much for being here, for supporting me. I really appreciate it. All right, let's get into this video. In today's video, I would like to talk about how you can get the job you want. These are all best practices that you can use to make sure that you actually secure the job that you're looking for. Sometimes you feel like you're doing everything that you can. You're looking on job boards, you're sending applications every day, you're, contacting people, you're doing your research, and at the same time, even though you're doing all that, nothing seems to be happening. Sometimes it just feels like your resume is just going into this black hole in the abyss. When will something happen? You just don't understand why there's no movement. You're not getting any responses back. You're not getting any interviews set up. I've had experience in all of that. I know how it feels, to apply for a job and not hear back. Or you apply for a job and you don't even understand why they didn't contact you. You're like, wait, I'm sure my experience is really tailored to what they need. So what happened? I just thought I'd give some of the tips and tricks that have actually worked for me. Like, it worked for me 1,000%. So I was like, you know what? Let me share some of that information. Let me give you guys the tea. Let me help you guys, level up. Like, why not? Like, I'm all for growth. I'm all for everybody's success, being happy, prospering, so let's do it. There's room for everybody. And I don't see why, if you follow these tips, I don't see how you actually can't land a job interview, land a job offer, and land a job. Here are my 4 tips and tricks. You could call it tips, you could call it tricks. But here are the 4 things that I think if you do these things, you can certainly land the job that you want. First things first, you got to update that resume. You got to update your resume. You cannot be applying for a job with the same exact resume that you applied for a job 2 years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago. Like, let's not do that. That is not the way to go. What you should be doing is, anytime you are looking for a job, when you start out the process, go to your resume. That's the first place you go. Take a look at it. Make sure that it's up to date with all the information about your professional background. Whatever work experiences that you have had, make sure that that is ironed out, listed in the resume. The other thing within the resume you need to do is make sure that you're actually spelling out your role and achievements from those jobs in the resume. Don't just, type out, responsible for typing reports. Like, you have to actually elaborate a little bit on the things that you did. Also, mentioning what impact that your job at the time, brought to the company. Like, those things are very important and helpful. I would say make sure you have the right information in your resume. Make sure you have a nice layout for your resume. A lot of people don't necessarily think about this. I think in general, we just, go into a Word doc. We're like, okay, type everything in. We've laid everything out. It looks good. And you think you're done, but guess what? No, you're not. Does your layout look organized? Does it look pleasing to the eye? So if someone were to open it up, can they find the information quickly? Can they see, what's important to the role you're applying for within the resume? So you have to really make sure those things pop out. And sometimes making it pop out means creating or having a certain layout or a structure in your resume. There are so many places these days where people can actually go and get really cool resume templates where, they already have the design laid out for you. And it's not anything extravagant. I think this part is important because I've been on the receiving end of resumes. And when you see what people are sending out there, people are actually, up to speed on what their resume should look like. They're not just sending, black and white, plain, boring looking resumes. You have to put some sort of organization to it, put a sort of template to it. That way it stands out. It shows, look, I'm here. I'm, taking this seriously. You have a certain air about yourself and this role you're applying to. It really works. So I suggest that you find a template that actually you can plop your resume into. If you don't have a template, I suggest you do that. If you have a template, you're already one step ahead. Number 2, when it comes to applying to jobs and being able to land a job, I would say make sure you're applying to jobs that actually parallel your background. So, if your background is in writing, make sure the job that you're applying for parallels that, especially if that's what you're interested in. If you're interested in switching careers and switching, your roles or positions into something totally different, then that could be a separate conversation. Let me know if you want information on that. But if generally you're looking for a job within the vicinity of what you already have, what you're already good at, what you're already an expert on, maybe you're an HR person, maybe you're a copywriter, maybe you're an engineer, maybe you're a developer, maybe you're a hairstylist, I would just say make sure whatever you're applying to parallels what is in your resume. Essentially, if those people were to look at your resume and look at the responsibilities that they're looking for someone to do, they'll be like, oh, it's kind of like they can just match everything across and say, oh, we need someone who knows the system. This person has used this system. We need someone that can write. This person can write. We need someone that could type 50 words per minute. 50 words per minute. We need someone who can pull reports from Tableau. Pull reports from Tableau. Like, if you can apply to jobs that parallel, the skill set you have, the expertise you have, the responsibilities you've performed, it's easier for that to stand out. It's easier for you to stand out when employers are actually looking to hire. It's like a no-brainer. It's almost like, wait, we really need to interview this person because literally what they have in their experience and their background that's listed on their resume matches what we're looking for. It's going to be so hard to ignore, right? So that's why I say you have to make sure that what you have in your resume, your background, parallels what you're looking for. I'm not saying go and change your resume into what you see, that someone's looking for. It's just, if you already naturally have done these things in your past work experience, just make sure those are the types of jobs you're applying to. I could definitely elaborate more on a new video. Let me know. My third tip is you should practice interview questions. You should do some research. You should find out what are some of the questions that are typically asked during an interview. There's a lot of stuff out there on Google. If you just Googled, interview questions, you're going to find a lot. I think what that helps you to do is just prepare your mind on the types of questions that could potentially be asked, and also preparing yourself for the types of questions you can ask. Now, you don't even know how important that is. Some of you might know. You being able to be armed with the right questions to ask, because this happens a lot in interviews. The employer will ask you, oh, like they'll talk and talk and talk, and then they'll be like, oh, do you have any questions for me? Yeah. You need to have questions. Don't ever be like, oh no, like you answered everything, like all the questions I thought of. No, no, no. There's always a question to be asked, okay? Now, I can create a video of questions, if you guys want that, because I've used a lot. And a lot of the questions I've asked, I've always gotten great feedback about. The employer at the time would say, oh, wow, yeah, that's a great question. Oh, wow, no one's actually asked this. Oh, yeah, like, let me go into this for you. I think when you ask questions, the employer feels like, okay, they're really engaged, they're really involved, they're really interested in this position, in learning about this company and things like that. So definitely always prepare yourself with either, doing a mock interview, learning to just be responsive to questions, but also creating a list of questions that you can always ask any company that you interview for. My final fourth tip is to make sure that you send a thank you email after you are done with the interview. Some people think, like, I don't want to look desperate. Like, if they want me, they want me. Like, why should I send them a thank you email? Like, I've not even gotten the job. I don't even know what's going on. Well, let me tell you, sending a thank you note after, a first interview or a second interview lets people know that you're interested in the role. It also keeps your name in their mouths. It also keeps a bug in their ear about you. Like, oh, like, she sent a thank you note. They might forward that to, the hiring manager or the HR person to let them know, like, okay, this person's following up, which is a great quality to have. I would say definitely write a follow-up or a thank you email, even if it's after the first or the second or the third interview. I mean, what do you have to lose by saying thank you, for taking the time to interview me? In that email, you could tell them, oh yeah, so besides just thank you, you could say, oh, I found this information that you spoke about on the interview very insightful, and it makes me more intrigued about the role. It makes me more interested in wanting to do XYZ. Trust me, like, that stuff does, mean something. All right, guys. So those are my tips and tricks for putting your best foot forward in order to land that job. I want you to be able to do this because I know it's hard out there. It's frustrating looking for a job day after day, week after week, not knowing what's going on. But now I have given you this information. Please use it to arm yourself so you can actually land that job that you've been wanting so badly this year. All right, so that's my time. I really enjoyed sharing this information with you. If you have any questions at all, feel free to get at me in the comments. I will be so ready to provide you with answers or research or any help you may need. And if there's another type of video that you want me to do with regards to this topic, just let me know, okay? I'll catch you in my next video. Bye.